Hey everybody, Dave Clark, aka the Pattern Guy, still up in the pattern shop. I think we're going to be here for a little bit, got a lot of pattern work going on. Got to finish this big job up here, it's ongoing. I'll try to record as much of it as I can with you. I got a long way with you guys so far. I'm trying to get as much detail in with this stuff as I can with you guys. Like I said, starting out guys, you guys are definitely not going to be doing stuff like this, you know, but like I said, one of the things I always found, if I do stuff that's a little bit more difficult, the easier stuff comes better, okay? Okay, next step we're going to do on this job here is we got to start getting this end round part going here, okay? So what we did, we glued up these two, I remember I glued up two segments here. It'll be both halves of the pattern, right? So this is the center part, it's going to be hollow. All right, so we need to close those in. So I made one end part, all right, and you know, definitely it's, like I said, you can make all this stuff by hand, but it would be a bear, you know. So what I had to do was this part has to sit on the base of the pattern, basically, right? So we notch this out and fit it in the base. All right, and then there's a big 45-degree angle here, then it just goes straight back, all right? So what I did was, we got this where it's gotta be here, all right? And then from there, I took the, this round part here too, this barrel part, okay? See, you can see where I notched these out too, okay? And that fits over the base. And that, with that notched out like that, it's, good for location side to side, right? And my center lines will come up on this. I got the center lines on the two faces. I'm gonna cut this part and sand it right now. That's the next step I'm gonna do, okay? Then that'll be here minus, I gotta put a 45 on here. Now, the problem with the 45 here is I can only tilt this 45 down, and I believe it's 30 up. So yeah, it's 30 up. So 40. So when I do this down, basically I have my line underneath here. So I'm gonna have to do some blind sanding, but I mean, that's what I gotta do. All right, so if you were doing this by hand, like I said, we could do this. Another way we could have done this too is, it's called staving, okay? And probably for a guy that doesn't have any equipment, the staving would have been better, because what you do is, instead of making the segments, we would run staves, what's called staves, and it's kind of like barrel staves, right? So then from there you can take your hand plane and plane this round, and then basically what you do is you have your radius, and you just go over this, you know, you could hand plane this whole thing. It wouldn't be a big deal, you know. You could do it as is too, but it'd just be a little more difficult, right? So anyhow, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out. I'm gonna sand it, and then we'll figure out how to get this 45 on here, and then from there, we gotta put a back end in there and a cover, all right? And then that'll be a half of a pattern. I'm gonna have to put everything together, okay? You know, it's gonna take a little bit for me to do. Another thing I had was the other half's base. It's twisted on me a little bit, so I gotta try to remedy that a little bit, and I wanna see what I can do. A lot of times what you can do is you can put on this flat table where it's high, we'll just put shims underneath and then just over clamp it. We'll see if we can rectify it that way. If not, a lot of times too, what we can do is put a bunch of kerf marks in it with the table saw. I'll get it flat on this table and then just put Mondo in. You know, we'll see what we can do with that one, but it's kind of two sides, so if I have to change the size wise, it's going to be a bugger. And like I said, with this, it's, you know, doing it this way, I don't have a big, you know, 24-inch planer I could have put that through. I mean, if I got the 24-inch joiner, I could have ran it over the 24-inch joiner, got it straight, then ran it through the planer, but we don't have that here. So probably should have showed you guys hand planing probably what we should have done, but you know, the stock that I started out with was pretty flat, so you know, I just chanced it and I kind of lost out. This one's nice and flat, this one's perfect. That one we're gonna have to mess with a little bit. So let me get to this and we'll show you some more, okay? Okay guys, squat down here. I want to show you what I'm going to do next here. I'm going to get going on assembling all the pieces I have made, okay? So get everything made minus the end piece because I'm not sure where I'm going with the core box yet, okay? So I got to figure that out, but I'm going to get started going. I'll leave the end piece off and then I'll figure out the you know, where I'm going to go with the core box. The reason I'm putting this together right now is what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp it to the table to make sure it's flat, and then we'll glue all the other pieces on, put some fillets in, all that stuff. So hopefully this board will be a little bit flatter than what it was. It started warping a little bit over the couple days that we've been in here. So that's the problem that you get. You know, it's pretty good atmosphere in here, but unfortunately a lot of times it doesn't work out that way. So what I'm going to do next is there's these two little spots on this first spot here that need a little bit of draft, so we're going to put some radial drafts. So I got myself a line around the outside, and then this bottom piece I want to keep where it's at, okay? So basically I got started hand plane again, guys. Okay, so same thing. This is that radius I had here, right? So the other spot I just put a flat spot on there. All right, so get some crayon on there, and then we'll just start rubbing. Not enough crayon on there, it looks like. There we go. All right, and just start rubbing the crayon out, right? Okay. Like I said, you guys can, you know, if you guys have to, get a die grinder out. The only thing when doing this with a die grinder versus a hand plane, what's going to happen with a die grinder, you know, like I said, there are instances where, yes, you can take more stock off in it. However, getting more into the woodworking aspect of it, you can see, like when you're looking at a piece of wood, especially pine, there's parts that are a little bit darker than other spots, especially like where the growth rings come through that makes the grain, okay? So those spots are actually a little harder than the lighter spots, all right? So when you're just sanding or using a disc sander or a DA sander or something like that, it doesn't sand those hard spots off, so you get like a little bit of a wave to it, you know. So when I'm using, you know, a hand plane or a chisel or something, you're gonna get it way flatter. Okay, and that, like I said, you know, I'll tell you these little stories. I tell you, the second place we're at, that's the guy, he hated chisels, you know, chisels, gouges. He just liked everything, you know, sander, power sander. We had big body DAs, you know, and that's how he got everything allegedly flat. Now I remember we did a board for a company. It was like 4 foot by 12 foot, both halves, and we sent the job out. It came back because that board was just, it had all kinds of humps all over it, you know. So the guy that built the job got back on there with his DA. It came back 3 times, I kid you not, you know. So I got my big joiner out. He's like, oh, take that home, that's a wall hanger. He put those on walls. You know, took the chalk out and the board, got all the high spots, you know, boom, never came back after that, you know. But what was happening with the DA sanders is hitting those hard spots and just, you know, getting a wavy action there, you know, so just wasn't working out. All right, so I know I'm close there, so I'm just gonna take my sanding block. Like I said, I always use a sanding block. Okay, that way we're gonna get it flat. Okay. All right, let's see what this looks like. All right, let's see if I can get you guys closer. Okay, got my draft there. Good, almost 1/4 inch. That's what he's gonna want there. So, all right, so I'm gonna do the other side, and then we're gonna start assembling this. And like I said, what I want to try to do, the reason I'm gonna assemble this, before I got some other stuff done, what I want to do is I want to glue all this down so it's really flat, because like I said, this board picked up a little bit of a warp to it, so I want to try to see if we can get that warp out of it, and putting all the bigger pieces on and gluing everything up. So we'll see what we can do with it. All right, hang tight, guys. Hey, morning everybody. Back at the big job. Got the first half all done, pretty much. We got the back end to put on. Like I said, I wanted to figure out how I wanted to do the core stick, or the core print, I should say, not the core stick. Core print on the back end of it. Did a layout yesterday, figured out how we're gonna go about doing that. I'll show you that in a second here. I wanna show you all what I had to do to get this bad boy going. So, especially a job this big, 9 times out of 10, you want to make the second half on top of the other half. Okay, that way you're going to get it to match up perfectly. All right, so I should have showed you one thing when I had the here's looking into the end of it. Okay, remember I had these two bottom boards. Okay, so what I did was I went ahead and pinned just these boards, because there's no way I'm going to get that height in the drill press and drill a hole all the way through there. It's just not going to happen. So I pre-drilled these 2 boards, put a 1 3/8 pin in them, okay? And then I drilled this all the way through, so I put a bottom on there so that the pin will be inside there, okay? So here's what I'm doing. I actually clamped these together. This is a crack right here from snipe in the planer, okay? So here's what I had to do. There's no way for me to clamp this big round part up, okay? So what I did, I took 2 pieces of scab wood, screwed them on each half. We're clamping those together. Okay, this is actually getting glued to here. All right, then this whole long piece that we put the radius on, all right, that guy, I got it clamped here, and I got it clamped here, and then we had to add a little bit over 1 inch and 1/8 here to get, we have to have 6 inches here, okay? So that's 6 inches, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna have to make this profile up here, down here, okay? It's a little bit long, I'll cut it to length afterwards. There's some spots here where the bandsaw dug in, doing, you know, I'm gonna have to bondo those. That's not a big deal. And like I said, I'm gonna leave this blank. I gotta add another 2 inches on this back side, I think, and then we'll have the core print on here. So that'll take care of that. And then, you know, pretty much the pattern will be done. I gotta do some fillets in here. Here, let's see this part here. Right in here, we got to put a 2 inch radius in here too. All right, so what I'll do, I'll put a piece of 45, a piece of wood in there, and then we'll take bondo. All right, so that's what we're gonna do with that. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna that's gonna be glued up for quite a while here. I want to keep it in clamps at least 4 hours. I'll probably just leave it there overnight. I got some other things I gotta do. I'm gonna start working on a core print. I gotta glue some stock up for that, so I'll probably just go ahead and get all that stuff done. What I'm gonna do is, once I finish building this pattern, I'm gonna do it on this particular video, and then what we're gonna do from there is I'm gonna do a separate video on building the core box, okay? Because that's gonna be a little bit of a project there. So anyhow, I don't know if I'll get you back on today. If not, like I said, I'm just going to do a bunch of glue ups today. So if not, I'll see you again tomorrow. Okay guys, we're back at this job here. Trying to finish the pattern up hopefully today. What I got to do, what left to do. Okay, the basic pattern's finished. What we got to do next is do the core print. Okay, this is where I tried to build it all in one piece, but there's no way I can do that because it's too big. I can't lift it, and so I had to do it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it in 2 pieces. So I was able to sand this particular part on the sander, get it in the bandsaw, and then I could have probably made this halvesy and then glued it. But what I want to do, I want to make this a little bit stronger. Like I said, they're a little bit, you know, rough on their patterns. So I made this a little bit on the smaller side, this end piece. Okay, and then what I'm planning on doing is we got to make that core. We got to make the core print. Okay, on the end of this thing, I'll show you the profile of that. So what I figured I could do, make the core print, and then what I'll do is I'll screw it from the inside, and then what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to put this on and put some screws here. Hopefully that'll make it a little bit stronger than just gluing it, okay? I mean, it should be good enough just gluing it, but I just want to make this a little stronger, okay? So here, what we got to do yet is I got to make the core print, okay? So here's basically what that's going to look like, okay? This is the parting down here, all right? We're going to make a shape like this for the core print, okay? And I'm going to put this radius on here, these radiuses extending out, and I'll show you that. Like I said, it's kind of a little bit hard to explain. I could probably just go ahead and bring this out all square, just leave it square, it'd be easier. But if I do that, what I'm gonna have to do is half of the inside of the core box, I'm gonna have to put all the radiuses on. The other half is just all square. So for me, it's just easier just to put that radius all the way through out into the core print, okay? You know, that way I don't have, like if I put it square coming out here, then once I'm limiting myself, I got another dimension I got to make sure I hit, which, you know, I don't want to have to do. So we'll just make that the radius all the way through, you know, on both sides there. All right, so I think that'll be easier. It's harder, but it's easier, okay? So what I got done here, I glued up the stock for this. So here, these are gonna be this part here, okay? All right, so these will be on the parting. All right, and then here's my, I gotta put a key on the end. We'll show you the key. Okay, this is gonna be my key piece. And then we gotta have this top T-piece coming out. And I got enough in this piece of stock where I can make 2 of those, okay? So what I'm gonna do with this, I'm gonna square this up a little bit, or gonna get a square edge. I'm gonna get my height. It'll be from the top of this part up to here. I'm gonna get that height. Then what I'm gonna be able to do, I'm gonna be able to lay this out on the end, and I'll be able to sand all that, and then we'll just cut it in half. Okay, so this bottom piece, what we're gonna have to do, we can do the same thing. It's already the height, so all I gotta do is put that radius on it, and then the radius, I should be able to sand all that. So this should go pretty quick. So what I'm gonna do is, you guys see me sand everything. I'm gonna lay this all out, get ready to sand. I'll sand it when I put it together. I'll turn the camera back on. Okay guys, getting ready to cut and sand this stuff out. Got most of it laid out. Show you a quick thing. Since it's kind of like one of the reasons I'm doing this, to show you guys how to do things. I gotta, you know, like I said, I'm doing stuff. It's kind of hard to stop, get the camera out all the time, right? So I'll try to show you as much as I can. So what's happening? I work here by myself. So a lot of times, you know, one of the things that really sucks about working on your own is I got these two and that's it, you know. So what I gotta do here, we got our bottom piece of our core print. Okay, I got them stuck together, and then we got to get this top piece. Okay, and this is only going to be about 4 or 5 inches long. Okay, so this one I can sand on the sander. This one I was thinking I could go ahead and sand, but I forgot we got to put a square rectangular core print, so we're going to have to do some hand carving there, right? So here's the thing. The best way to do this is you can't lay this out by itself, right? So here's the one piece, here's the bottom piece, okay, the base piece, and then this part I make it separate, all right? So I got to get this radius, but that comes down here on the parting line, right? So this piece I would have to glue a block on, or you know, whatever, you know, center. So it's easier just to go ahead and lay the whole thing out at once, okay? So I got both of these pieces, and then I got both pieces there, and then we're gonna strike an arc on there, all right? So what I did was, these are shorter pieces, so I found the scrap, you know, I can't hold these two pieces up and crank these handles. So what I had to do is, I found a couple blocks, and then I got a couple wedges. Always just make them on the bandsaw, just a couple wedges. And then from there, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and strike my arc, okay? And then this way it'll be all the way around, okay? And I already have these, the smaller blocks, I got them to the height they need to be. All right, so I'm there. So from here, after I get this arc on, I already got my side arc. Okay, so from here, what I'm gonna do is I gotta get my width, put my 2 degrees on here, and then those pieces will be good. I'll sand them out. Okay, so this is where, you know, this is how you go about making the patterns. You lay out, and then you also have your centers. You go off your centers, but this thing's so big, you know, a lot of times I got to go point to point to point, okay? So let me cut these things out. We'll start assembling. I'll show you how that goes. Morning, everybody. Hey, today we're going to wrap this job up, I hope. Just not the job, we're going to wrap the pattern up here. So I started finishing it a little bit. Finally got this core print going, okay? So this is what the core print looks like on the end. Okay, this particular part right here, I got this in a way right now, is gonna be the key to it, okay? So remember I told you sometimes we have to key the core, make sure it's where it's gotta be, okay? So that's one of the reasons why this is getting cored. The other reason why this is getting cored is it kind of runs, it's kind of floating in the end of this job here, all right? So we don't have anything to hold this end up. So this is why we have to make this core print really beefy, okay? So in reality, this core actually, it's gonna go out this much farther, okay? So that's about how far in the core is gonna go into the casting, okay? So we gotta have a nice beefy core print here, okay? So one of the things I'm working on right now, I got this all sanded up. I got them put together. We're gonna put them onto this round end, okay? What we're gonna do is I'm gonna put it on here. I'm gonna screw this really good, make sure this is really tight, and then I'm gonna put screws in around here to screw this, you know, to the end of the pattern, okay? And the reason I had to do that, like I said, we're a little, I got some nice machinery, but still it's not, you know, it's machinery plus I can't lift this. I can barely lift this thing right here. If I were to put this on, I'll say there's just no way I could lift this thing. So I'm not actually relishing lifting it. I'm gonna have to lift it when I deliver it. So I'll see if I can get my son to help me put it in the car or something. So anyhow, what I'm working on right now is we have to put this little bit of a radius here, okay? So we laid this out. I don't know if you can remember. We put this all together, blanks, and then we laid the radius out, all right? So, like I said, this probably I could have just made this square, the core print, okay, and not worried about continuing this out here. However, if I were to do that, and then if I didn't take care of it in the core box, I would add a couple different stop spots with my dimensions, which I would have had to have made sure the dimensions were correct. This way it's just easier. It's just going to be the same the whole length, okay? So doing it this way, if I would have squared this also and just gone ahead and made the core all the way, we'd have metal leaking into here. And at the foundry, they'd have to trim all that off, and they don't want to have to do that if they don't have to. So we're going to try and make this as tight as we can. And they are, obviously, there's some metal's going to get in there. It's the way it always works, but we just want as less in there, okay? So I got to do some hand work here, okay? So what I do, I laid this out here. So I want this, I want this angle here to follow here. And then you can see the profile we got here at the end, all right? So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take my hand saw, I got a nice little back saw, all right? And I'm gonna cut this line here with my back saw from 0 to this line here, okay? And that's this profile here. We're 0, and we gotta go up to here, okay? Now there is that radius. We're gonna fill that in with Bondo a little bit, okay, where we cut it. But that's gonna make it so that I'm gonna take a hand chisel and chisel this out. That way I'm not gonna be chewing up this end core print with a chisel, okay? So I started one over here. I'm gonna get you up closer, and here, let me show you where I'm at so far, and then we'll show you a little bit. So here's where I cut with the saw. All right, now I'm slowly but surely, and we'll get this going here with you. I'll show you where I gotta follow this with a chisel, okay? Okay, now guys, this is where I'm telling you, gotta have sharp tools, okay? So we got end grain coming in here. All right, I got it cut down here so that I don't have to dig into this core print here, all right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my chisel and slowly, it's not a race, okay? See how nice that end grain's coming off, okay? And that just pops right off, all right? So I'm gonna get to my line here, close to it, okay? All right, and like I said, the deeper I'm going here too, the wider this is getting, so it's gonna be a little bit more difficult, all right? So I got my line out here. I'm almost to this line here, okay? So this is basically pattern making, going from 2D to 3D, okay? We just have points that we gotta go from this point to this point, okay? So that's basically what we're doing, okay? So I'm gonna start chiseling on this smaller point right here, make it a little easier to chisel. All right, but see that nice end grain, how that's where you have nice sharp tools, and like I said, it makes it way more enjoyable here. You know, working. You know, if this tool wasn't sharp, it just would be a struggle and just not, you know, it's just not fun. You know, so like I said, we'll try to teach you as best we can. Like I said, I know there's a ton of other guys out there that's way better at sharpening. It's kind of like their thing, you know. So, and then don't forget, we got to do this 4 times. There's 4 sides to this. All right, but this is the important thing where, you know, especially for guys that's starting out, you guys aren't going to be able to afford machinery and that, you know, so you got to learn how to use your hand tools. And not, you know, it's you could probably take a die grinder here and do this, but what I'm doing, the way I'm doing this is going to be way more straight, and it's just you know, for me, it's that this is the way I've done it all my life, you know. So that's getting that profile going. Like I said, we'll get it down to this all the way. Just gotta keep on chiseling away, like they say here. You know, that's that age-old adage. Okay, so what, I'm to this one profile here, but what I gotta do here, I do have to go over that 3/4 radius. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put another line here. You can just go ahead and do a pencil line because these aren't that big of a deal. Okay, like I said, this is core print. It's not the pattern, so you can go ahead and just use that for a reference point and get that thing going. And then what we're gonna do from here, you know, we'll do all 4, then we're gonna glue this onto this end piece, and hopefully the pattern should be built. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do this, guys, finish these up, and I'll show you when this is getting ready to put together. Okay, guys, I think we're gonna cut it short here. Like I said, I got these 2 things glued up. One of the things I should have showed you is we have, I gotta put this big radius in here, okay? And same thing with the length of that pattern, right? So what I did, I took a piece of 45 equipment, because I don't want to put a whole big thing of Bondo in there, right? So I put a 45 in there, and then we finished up the radius. You know, I just got a little radius spoogey thing and spooge it out. So that's this piece. What I'm going to do, I'll fit this 45 in there, and then we'll Bondo this up, and then these core prints will be done, okay? So then from there, like I said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue and screw it to this piece, and then we're going to screw it to there. I'm going to do some sanding and painting, and then the pattern's done, okay, on this thing. So what I want to do next is, you know, I get the camera up to Joe. That's why I'm going to cut this a little short here. So what we'll do is start the core box. All right, I want to do the whole core box with you guys, so that's the next video we'll get out for the core box. And then once this project's all done and wrapped up here, I got a little project I'm going to do for Keith Rucker, Vintage Machinery. Can't wait to get going on that. It's for a half-scale locomotive. Then we're going to go down to the foundry and pour bronze part on that too. So we're going to get that video out, get that project going. I've got a couple other jobs coming up that will, you know, work through with you guys and that. And then hopefully this year, what I'm planning on doing, one of the customers I have, he's got a real cool machine shop. It's got some real neat machinery. I want to take you guys to his machine shop. He's got a couple of real neat gear cutting machines. And then he actually customized a couple machines. So I want to take you there. Then Barberton Foundry, what we're making this for. The owner of Barberton actually invited us down there to do a YouTube, so that's going to be a little bit of a project, because there what we'll do, it's a real big facility. I want to give you a little bit of a tour, and then what we're going to have to do is we'll show them making some molds. They use primarily hard set sand, and then they pour at night, so it's either I got to get together with Joe. Then we'll see whether it's just going to be an all-day thing or we're just going to go back and forth a couple times and do a couple different filmings. So we got that going, and then I got a couple other things I got in the works I'm trying to get going. So that way we can see some different foundries. I'll see if we can get in the pattern shop there, see a real pattern shop, and you know, I'll take you to some of those things. Like I said, I got some more work coming in here. I got some train work coming in here. I got some rideable steam train work we got to do. Way behind up at the foundry as usual, so we got a lot of work we got to get going. I'll try to get you up there as much as we can, guys. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here today. I'll get this out to Joe, get a video going out here for you. I want to try to keep these things going. We got subscribers going pretty good. I want to keep them going. If you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate it if you would. If you have subscribed, I really appreciate it. Hit the like buttons and give a comment if you can. On the comments, I'm way behind on responding to comments. Like I said, life happens. I've been really busy, guys. So for everybody that's commenting, I love to hear your comments, good, bad. Give them to me. I'll try to respond to them as much as I can. With that, everybody have a good one out there and stay safe.